Hello, my name is Camilo Rincon. I am an attorney with Rodriguez, Rincon, and Uge. We're a law firm with offices in the United States and in Colombia, South America. In this short video, I'm going to give you 10 tips that you can use during your K-1 visa process. Okay. Tip number one is don't be confused by the 2-year requirement. Many clients come to our offices and they say, I want a fiance visa, but I have not known my fiance or I have not dated her for the required 2 years. That is not what the 2-year requirement says. The 2-year requirement only demands that you have seen each other in person over the last 2 years. Okay. Tip number two is more is better. Since immigration doesn't know anything about you guys and the person who's going to decide whether they're going to grant or deny the visa doesn't know you, it is your job to provide sufficient proof within the application so that the officer can make a positive determination with regards to your fiance visa. Okay, so more is better. So then tip number three is, okay, so what can I include to help the immigration officer decide on my application? One thing that we recommend, pictures. If you have pictures with your fiance, pictures traveling with your fiance, pictures with your family and your fiance, those are great. Boarding passes, if you've ever traveled to see your fiance or if you've ever traveled with your fiance, include boarding passes that will prove that you've traveled together. Another thing that you can include are letters from friends, family members, or neighbors explaining how it is that they know that you have a real relationship. Okay, those letters are helpful. Number four is there is an income requirement that you're going to need to satisfy. You're going to have to show the U.S. government that you have sufficient income to sustain or support your fiance once your fiance comes to the United States. Okay, so look at a form called the 864P. That form is going to tell you what the requirement is in terms of income. Now there's something really important. That form changes every year. So make sure you look at the most recent form, because the last thing you want is to look at a form and look at the income requirements for a past year. Okay. Tip number five is there is a space in the form 129F that says, how did you guys meet? How did you meet your fiance? The form only provides a few lines. What I recommend is do a separate letter, maybe a 1 or 2 page letter explaining how you met, how your relationship developed, how you decided to marry her, and why you've decided to now move to the United States with your soon-to-be wife or husband. Okay, so you can do a separate letter, and in the form just include that you've provided the answer in a separate attached letter. Okay. Tip number six: make sure that every piece of information has a tab or a divider, because the last thing that you want is for you to include all the required information, and because there are so many documents in the application, for the officer to miss it because they just can't see where one document ends and where the next document begins. Okay, so you make sure everything is well separated. Another tip that I will give you is, if friends or relatives or neighbors are going to write letters explaining how it is that they know you have a real relationship with your fiance, make sure they provide their contact information. That way, if the immigration officer wants to reach out and get more details, you will make that officer's job as easy as possible. So again, if someone writes a letter, make sure that person includes their contact information. Okay. Number 8, there's no need to have documents apostilled. I know a lot of people run around trying to get those documents, such as birth certificates, apostilled. I've never had immigration or embassies require documents to be apostilled. Now, if someone's told you otherwise, that they do requirement, I would suggest that you write to either USCIS or the embassy and ask them whether they would like those documents apostilled. But again, we've never seen immigration require those apostilled documents. Okay. Another tip that I will give you, which is tip 9, is make sure if friends or relatives, or if you write a letter to immigration in support of your application or in support of your relationship, make sure that letter contains the statement of perjury that is in the USCIS website. The statement says something along the lines of, I declare under penalty of perjury that all the information in this document is true and correct. Immigration likes to see that statement whenever they receive any letters in support of applications, okay? The last tip that I will give you is, even though the K-1 visa gives you or gives your fiance a 90-day stay in the U.S., I would advise you to start your adjustment of status application as soon as possible. And the reason is you don't want to wait until day 89 to start. One, because the adjustment of status application is very time consuming, but number two, because your fiance is not going to be able to travel internationally or work in the U.S. until she adjusts status. So again, do the adjustment of status as soon as possible, okay? If you would like more legal assistance with your K-1 fiance visa process, feel free to contact us. Thank you.